Good morning. It is so good to see you today, beautiful being. It's good to be in here. You can probably hear there's a jackhammer not far from the house. It's entertaining. I sit down and there's roadworks starting on the street not far from here. So I'm very grateful that it's outside my window. And because it's still beautiful and misty and a little bit rainy outside, which is wonderful because, you know, it's nice not to be in drought. Hi, Linda. We're doing rocks today. Surprise, surprise. Great to see you. And here is our first fellow, our first friend, whatever you want to call it. Helly, it's been yonks. It's lovely to see you, beautiful Ben. So this quartz, right? White quartz. And what do I need to say? Nothing really. Just turn it round. Enjoy it. Just look at all the different points and, you know, the lovely randomness of it. Yes, welcome to the bridge. Teresa, good morning. Lovely to see you. We're just having a big rock of quartz here. Sunchia, good morning. So, you know, it's lovely. You can see right into the centre of it. And let me not forget to show you the back. So this sort of broke off, I think. It was, you know, and look, there's a hole through it. There's no cut surfaces on this one. It's just a piece that probably had a tap from a miner's hammer, and it came off. So it's fabulous. It's heavy. A little bit over a kilo, really. It's just awkward. From the sublime and large to the sublime and small. Nesreen, good morning, beautiful. We have fluorite today. This is a fluorite tetrahedron. And you can see very clearly when I hold it up this way that it is actually two colours. It's white on top and green below. And, you know, it reminds you of the pyramids in Egypt, and it's just beautiful. I'm very fond of this one. I love how it's not perfect. And look, you can see this wavy line through it, which is, you know, and there it goes. It's a sort of it's not straight across, it goes through, and then you can see it in each facet. Julian, good morning. Lucky me, everybody's here. So, fluorite. And more fluorite deliciousness. This one is beautiful. Some of you will remember it. This is, you think, oh, it's purple and it's very dark. It may even look black to you. This is actually very special. Whew, I'm glad I paused when that happened. I know how loud that is on the replay and when I'm on live. This is fluorite from the Musina mine in South Africa, Namibia. I can't remember. But it's a very special piece. And now I'm going to have to move the phone so you can see what colour. See that when the light comes through it? Isn't that beautiful? It's just the most amazing thing. Just glorious. So, you know, I love to show this one off. Susanna, good morning. There it is. It's, you know, it's just wow. Dennis, yay! Kathleen, good morning. You came on at the perfect time. See this magnificent blue fluorite. It's fabulous. So I just wanted you to see that. Now let me put this down. Okay, right, so today, carrying on from yesterday, I just got this, I don't know, the light went on. I thought, let's talk about relationships. And yesterday we talked about, God, whatever we talked about. Oh, letting go of relationships. Hi, Tanuya. Good morning, beautiful. Excuse me. And then the whole thing that when a relationship ends, you really are saying goodbye to the self that you were in that relationship. And the cleanest thing to do is to realise, hey, I was a particular person when I was with that person, or in that job, or in that family, or in that whatever, or even in that state of health. Because relationship, you know, we think it's about two people, but actually it's a relationship with anything that changes. And so you got to say goodbye to the self that was and realise that you are becoming somebody else. Like it or not, things have changed. And you have the opportunity to look back on who you were and say, well, I want to keep this and I don't want to keep that, and this is who I want to be. And I thought, I didn't really talk much about that yesterday because, that's all great in principle, but how the hell do you do it? Particularly when we often don't realise what we say yes to without even thinking about it. We just, this is who I am. This is how my life is. What do you mean most of it's automatic and I haven't thought about it? I made that decision 20 years ago and I've just been living out of the same decision, not realising that it was a choice. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, well, how do you sort of unpick this thing? How do you remove the assumption that if the job has gone away or the house has gone away, or whatever it is that you made part of your identity and suddenly, your world is turned upside down because something that was a big part of you has gone. This is really about the end of a relationship, but anything big that's changed. How do you look at who you were and kind of unravel in the middle of all of that, things have changed, that goes on, and unravel what you've been saying yes to that actually you don't want to keep saying yes to? Because coming back to relationships now, if you decide to end a relationship, you're saying no to something, right? But what we often don't realise is that to say no to a relationship that was bad to you, or bad for you, I should say, is just the very first no that you get to say. There's a whole lot more no's to say if you don't want the next one to be exactly the same. Because why would you expect the next relationship to be any different from the previous relationship if you don't become a different person? We have this weird idea, which is very, everybody does it, that we can want and desire and wish for things to be different, but we carry on through our lives the same person, expect a different future. How does that work? If you can copy and paste your previous week into your current week or in your current week into your future week and, little small minor details change, but essentially it's all the same, how is it going to be any different? So I was just thinking, well, how do I unpack the yes from the no? And it is really simple and subtle stuff. Yeah, totally, Linda. You've been saying so much yes and no. It's been amazing. So, and it started with the big no, I'm not putting up with this crap anymore, right? And then you just had to keep saying no, 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 no. And eventually you found some things to say yes to. But something that people often don't realise is that when you say no to stuff, you're actually saying yes to yourself. That's a really important thing to realise. It's not that you're some pig-headed, difficult, nasty person. Hi, Eve! It's not that you're demanding and you shouldn't feel guilty. Hi, Meryl! For choosing yourself. That's a whole nother story. You're saying yes to yourself when you say no to something that you don't want. It's a really important thing to realise, because there's been a time or two in my life when I just had to say no from beginning to end, morning till evening, endlessly, and it was like, what's wrong with me? There's nothing I want to say yes to. Well, sometimes you just have to say no for a long time, because so much of you've been saying yes to things that you didn't even realise you were saying yes to, and it wasn't right for you. Timothy, good morning. So we kind of have to get, your no has to get stronger. And it can take some practice, because it's like, oh my God, I should be saying yes to this person. I should be a nice person. I should be cooperative. I should be. Do you want to be? Really? And so getting back to the simple thing that I meant to say, how do I know my yes from my no? Well, it's taken some practice. Alicia, good morning. It's taken some practice, because I was so used to saying yes to stuff that, and remember I said yesterday my dominant emotion was fear. So, I just got to try and keep everything sort of reasonably, somehow, whatever that is, okay around me, which it wasn't. But, I was just in management mode, keeping people happy. And it wasn't particularly that I was a people pleaser. It was more like I was a people anticipator. And I got really good at very skillfully keeping people happy, and in the process keeping myself happy. But there was a base, and I mean that, it was fulfilling. But there was a baseline level of, I have to do this or bad things are going to happen to me, that I hadn't even noticed, hadn't understood, hadn't recognised. So we have layers and layers, and it's all right. You don't have to work it all out right now. You'll get better at it. Coming back to that, because I keep going off on these great detours. How do I know my yes and my no? I listen, I tune in, I pay attention to myself. And the thing is, we get used to ignoring it. You see, my fear was all I needed to be disconnected from my truth, to be disconnected from my yes and my no, to not know what was right for me. So little by little, and it would have happened faster if I'd known then what I know now. Little by little, I started to pay attention, and I started to notice, and this is the thing I often say to people. Look, here you are, you're trundling through your life, you're feeling good, right? Steph, morning! You're feeling great, and then suddenly, you're not. And you think, what the hell happened? And I often say to people, hi Karen, that's a great question, I'll come back to that. Dr. Ass, it's lovely to see you. Hang on, let me finish this one thought. I often say to people, what was I going to say? See, I'm completely distracted now. I'll get back to it. So you have to go back through that scene, go back to that scene, because you'll have a memory of the time that suddenly things changed and you were feeling good and then you weren't. And I say, look, rewind the video. Go into slow, slow, freeze frame. Exactly when did your state of being change? Lisa, good morning. Exactly when? Now, what was going on? What did you notice? Now, we're not looking for a reason outside of you for you to feel bad. What we are looking for is the thing that you reacted to and didn't notice. Now, whatever that was, it might be something that scared you. It might be something that pissed you off. It might be something whatever. But there's something in that creates a reaction in you, and now you're feeling different. And often, but not always, because sometimes it's my shit. But now, because I'm so finely tuned to me, when something suddenly feels off, there's some aspect of something going on there that I need to say no to. Something doesn't feel right. Someone's asked me to do something or made a suggestion or made an offer and it just doesn't quite feel good, So yeah, let's talk about this. So that is the basic how, really. You just got to pay attention. You've actually got to be willing to listen to yourself, to start paying attention, stop knee-jerking all over the place. And if you are knee-jerking all over the place, notice the fact that you knee-jerked all over the place. Notice, like I say, rewind the tape, rewind the video. Hang on a minute, I knee-jerked. What did I knee-jerk to? No, it's not about that. This is my reaction. But actually, who do I want to be? How do I want to say no or respond or say yes or whatever next? Basically, you've got to start listening and paying attention and deciding who you want to be. So let's talk a little bit about this thing of saying no and then regretting it, right? Okay, how do I download this? It's really, it's nothing more or less than what I've just been talking about. Excuse me while I wait for this. It's like a little packet that's assembling itself in my mind. When you say no and you look back and you think, oh shit, I really should have said yes, or I should have done it differently, or man, I wish I'd said no sooner. God, how many of us have done that? It's like the timing was wrong, or you look back and you realise, actually, I said no because I was scared, right? We do this because like the gut feeling inside you, it's a genuine feedback from your body, right? The thing that I needed to understand about it is, if I am calm, if I'm centered, if I'm clear, if I'm balanced, then the feedback that I get from my body is going to be useful and good and helpful and balanced, and it's going to be a useful guide for me. If I'm in chaos, whatever my body's telling me could be complete bullshit. I actually have to get calm and get centered and get clear before I can get any useful information from my gut feeling. I hope that makes sense. So if you are in a situation of making a decision and you're in chaos and you're fearful, you're angry or whatever, you need to wait until you're not like that. And you need to get into a place where you can calmly and consideredly think your way through and feel your way through the choice that you're wanting to make. If you knee-jerk, I was just listening to Joe talk about this yesterday. If you're in that, whatever it is, at that time, because there's chemistry pouring through your body, the part of your brain that's to do with rational thought, not working. You're an animal. Your reptilian animal brain is driving you. You are about surviving, about beating off the opposition and the threat and running away or fighting or freezing. That's it. Anything you do in that state is going to be just like a wild animal. So you have to calm that down. You really do. And if you said no already, Karen, because sometimes we just make mistakes and sometimes they're really big mistakes. The thing about that is, it's done. It's done. It's done. So, okay, it's done. I'm grieving. I lost something. I broke something. I destroyed something. I hurt someone I care. It's done. I did it. Okay. Okay. If I continue to let that define me, if I continue to let that be a source of doubt and fear and, you can't say no now because you'll create the same thing again, I'm then letting my past mistakes continue to inform my future, and I'll make more. I will screw up again because I'm so scared that I'm not connected to my truth. We screw up. And what I have slowly learned is that, because honestly, and it didn't for me, it didn't matter the size of the screw up. It was just, oh my God, I feel so much shame because I didn't perfectly know what to do in that situation. Well, gee, it might have been hard to know. But am I going to continue to allow that pain and that grief and that loss and that shame, whatever it is, to continue to run around inside my body and in my thinking? Am I going to keep on revisiting it so that my body becomes conditioned and then addicted to those emotions, even though I don't like them and I don't like thinking those thoughts and I don't like being that person? But, it's a thing that I do now because my body has become my mind, and it does the mind of that fear and that doubt and that loss without me. Not a very pleasant place to be. Am I going to keep myself there by continuing to say, it was awful, it was the end of the world and it can't be fixed? And most things can be undone or fixed. And you know what? We think, I'll never have another opportunity like that again. You can, and you will, but you got to get out of the state of mind that says you can't. Because why do you say you can't? You can't. You're pouring concrete or carving granite. You're fairly hard to reverse, quite right. But, we really can. You can lose everything, and you can get it back again. The recreating of you as the person that is tuned into possibility and is open to possibility rather than focused on the past. Hi, Vicky! That's our work. That's our job. That's what we're about. And change is hard. You know why? I got time to explain this again, and I've sort of mentioned it before. But let me go back to basics, because I need to remember this. You have a powerful experience. You have any experience, right? But let's say it's a powerful experience. You said no, and immediately, oh, shit. And there's a level of trauma when you really, whenever it was, you have that, oh, shit, that was just the wrong thing to do. And all of this emotion starts hitting you, right? So your brain is firing and wiring new neural connections about this new experience. And as it does that, it makes neurotransmitters. And the neurotransmitters talk to other emotional centers in your brain, and you pour the chemistry that is equal to the oh shit thought that you just had. That's what happens. It's literally what happens. And then you fire another thought. Oh my God, this means that I'm never going to have the love like this in my life again. Oh my God, this means I'm never going to have another job like this again. I'm never going to live in a house again, whatever. And all of this stuff goes on in your brain, and more chemistry. Because remember, the chemistry that pours only lasts for 90 to 120 seconds, but every time you fire a new thought, more chemistry, and it's this storm. And then your brain is really incoherent. All these different thoughts going, ugh. It's like a symphony with no conductor, complete chaos. And that's how you feel, is complete chaos. And because it's so powerful, the brain is, pays attention to all of this, and then you start to notice things in your environment that remind you of all of that stuff. Gina, I'm so glad this is what you needed to hear. It's just basic neuroscience 101 that I've learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Man, has it changed my life. Emmy, good morning. So that is the thing that happens, in a traumatic event, more or less. I think I got that more or less right. Now, what happens then is as you replay those memories, those new neural connections, they get strengthened, they get stronger, they get thicker, they get bigger, and the chemistry pours and pours and pours and pours, and your cells change their morphology. They change what receptor sites are on the outside to receive those hormones. Because, hormones of stress, lots of, we better adapt to change to this new environment. And you keep firing and wiring those fearful, sad, lossful, whatever it is, it's impossible, it'll never happen again thoughts. And over time, if you stay in that, because it's a powerful event and it easily happens, it just becomes who you are. I am like this because of this thing that happened 6 months ago that I can't get over. And then your body is that mind. Your body is doing it for you. And your body by now is actually addicted to that. Those cells have all those receptors on the outside for all those stress hormones. And if you decide to get calm, i.e. change, after a while, the cells go, hey brain, we want some stress hormones. Send out some scary thoughts, please. Find something in the environment to upset the apple cart again. We want our stress hormones. In short, that is biologically, neurologically, why change is so hard. Because you've got to turn the battleship around inside you. And Linda, you turned this around and it took you some time. Do you think this happens in an instant? No, it takes practice. It's a skill. You can learn it to create this coherence and this order in your brain, which then sends different chemistry and reprograms your cells and reprograms your body and reprograms your mind, and you change your life. You can do it, but it's like you have to realize your body is an addict. And you, the mind, have to make a decision that's more powerful than that emotional addiction in your body. And many times we have to make it over and over. But there's always one. Sooner or later you think, that's it, I'm done. This has to change. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I love this. You see, it all leads to the same thing. But if you're leaving a relationship with anything, there's an old you and there's a new you. You've got to say no to the old you and say yes to the new one. And you do that by getting calm enough to really listen to the truth of what you know and feel in yourself. Be calm when you do it. If you're in animal mode, don't listen. You're going to get bullshit. You're going to get bad guidance. But your inner wisdom is there when you're calm. Oh, wow. Yeah, Jenna, you're amazing. If you're a trauma specialist, big hat off, I very much, that's not my job. Bless you. So, big love. I know I'm out of time. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. But meanwhile, I've just remembered in about another 3.5 hours, I'm going to be live talking about Sang Marie. So if you're available, please come on and I'll tell you what our beautiful young man in the Gambia is doing in his nursing training, which is a miracle how that happened, and the miracle that we've had recently. We keep having miracles one way or another. It's really awesome. So I look forward to catching up with you then or tomorrow. Big love. Bye-bye.